Hi, Aletha here with Create Your Future, and thank you for joining me on this video. I'm looking forward to our time together. To remind you that Create Your Future is still giving away a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. And the value in that is when you know your blocks, it's easy to manifest anything fast. The other thing that's important is that I have courses available, 13. I want to highlight one, and it's entitled Emergency Rescue Kit. And it's for those emergencies that you can pull it out if you own it anytime you want. Go through it when you're starting to stress over something and you fear that you're going to spiral, or if you're already in the middle of spiraling, or if you can't get out of those negative feelings into the state of the wish fulfilled, this kit will be of great value to you. Also, I do one-on-one coaching, and of course the value in that is you and I can get into all the deep particulars of your situation and find your blocks and help you and guide you along your path to manifesting whatever it is your heart is desiring to experience. Today we're going to talk about manifestation made simple. Isn't that wonderful? And it is. And I hear people telling me many times that it is so hard. Well, you got to stop saying that, number one. And it's not hard. Manifestation is actually very simple. So I'm going to make manifestation so easy for you. So are you ready? Okay, here we go. Number one, you are already manifesting everything in your life, the good and the bad. You know that. But don't let that make you feel horrible. No, just understand that we manifest constantly. You can't stop. You're manifesting. Whether it's deliberate or just unconsciously, you are manifesting all the time, good and the bad. And so number two then would be manifestation is simple. It's the embodiment of a thought. That's all it is. If you can be it long enough, then that thought will manifest into your 3D reality. So that's simple, right? This is what we call faith. It's not religious faith in the way that you may have been trained to, but it is the inner knowing of what you desire, that you're holding it in your imagination, and then you're letting it solidify out into the physical realm by your feelings, because feelings are a frequency, and the universe doesn't hear our words. It responds to our feelings. And words do create, because they create emotions, right? And emotions are the frequency the universe responds to. So if you're walking around saying your intentions that I'm in this beautiful, loving, committed relationship with this most amazing person, but feeling lack, and you're saying it to get it, not because you have it already, then the universe is reading the feeling of lack and of not having. It's not reading the words that you just said. It's reading the feeling, the intent behind the words. You're saying it to get something, which comes from lack. You say it because you already have it. I am in this most beautiful, loving, committed relationship with the most amazing person, and I feel that beautiful feeling. The universe responds to that and sends in that beautiful, loving person to me in my 3D. So that the beauty is that your nervous system cannot tell the difference between what you've imagined and what's actually showing up in your 3D reality. So if you're looking at your 3D reality and you're seeing that it's not there yet, but in your imagination, you're imagining that they're with you, the 3D doesn't know the difference between either of those. So whatever is the most dominant is going to be pushed out and then reflected back. So if you look at the 3D and you get all discouraged and unhappy about it and live from giving up and lack, then that's what you will get more of. However, if you live from what's going on in your heart, where you're imagining and you're feeling the feelings of that person being totally devoted to you and only you, then your nervous system doesn't know that that's in your 4D, that's internal. It hasn't shown up yet in a 3D. It doesn't know that. It assumes that's who you are saying saying you are. That's your truth. And then that will be reflected back to you. So keep that in mind. It's so important to understand that the 3D is the harvest of whatever I've been thinking. So whatever I'm thinking right now will be the harvest. It will show up eventually in my 3D reality. So make sure you know what you're thinking. Deliberately choose to stay in the state of the wish fulfilled and feel those feelings that they are loving me and they're devoted to me and only me. So you need to walk around. What you can do, you realize that you can walk around in the 2030 version of you, of whatever your wish fulfilled right now in 2025, and it will show up in 2025. So if you're looking into the future thinking, this is who I want to be, just bring it into the present moment and it will manifest in your present moment. So if you see down the road that I want to be this, this, and this, okay, cool. Now, imagine you already are it, because that version of you does exist. Remember, creation is finished. It's just waiting on you to focus on it. And from the point of, it's mine now. I have it now. I'm not waiting on anything. I have it. And I think too many of us complicate everything. We live in a state of waiting. And of course, that's what the universe reflects back, because what is that frequency? A frequency is waiting and longing and wanting and needing. And what does it reflect back to you? More of those things in different kinds of situations. So we're going to live from, in this moment, the version of who we want to be, that my SP or my health or my money or whatever it may be is mine now. Mine now. And you feel that beautiful feeling. They are devoted to me and only me, and that feels incredible. And if they're devoted to you, then everything else falls in place, right? So here's an intention. You can say, I am the version of me who already has what I desire. I live in it. I breathe it. I embody it now. And when you're embodying it, you are being it now. You are feeling it now. You have a brand new car sitting out in your driveway. What's it feel like? Feels wonderful, right? You have this SP now in your imagination that you're with. What's it feel like? Because it's yours now. Embody it. It's real. You feel it. If you have, and this is something that I worked with some of my clients, and we have old memories of difficult things with our SPs, and we have good memories of beautiful things with our SPs. Most of us focus on the old memories of the difficult things. Let's stop and focus on the beautiful memories of all those good things, where they looked at you with devotion and love, and that you were the only person in their life and the only woman or only man in the room, that they were so obsessed with you, so in love with you, so captivated by you, so devoted to you. Live from those memories versus the old ones. We tend to just focus on the negative all the time and feel crappy. Don't do that. Focus on the beautiful memories, remember those, and feel beautiful and wonderful and loved and valued. I have a success story for you. I had a client who was heartbroken. I've had many clients heartbroken because in this situation, her specific person felt so distant, almost gone, hardly ever even in her life. And she kept checking the 3D, waiting for him, remember, we're not supposed to wait, we already have, but she was waiting for him to make the first move. And oh God, you don't know how many times clients say, I want them to make the first move. Because it's ego. That is ego. That is ego. Lay down the ego. You do not need it. It's not going to be in your best interest. So anyway, she's waiting for this person to make the first move. And nothing changed, not at all. And she stopped doing that because we explained to her the downside of doing that. And so she stopped, and she decided to become the version of herself who already was chosen, already was loved and prioritized. And it doesn't matter who makes the first contact or how the universe brings it into being. It doesn't have to be that where we are living from the ego of wanting them to make the first move because I'm always the one giving. That's not living from the new version of already being in a beautiful, loving relationship. That's living from the old version. And guess what the universe reads in your energy? It reads the negative stuff. And then, of course, that is those feelings, those frequencies are mirrored back to you. But if you stop doing that and do what she did, she chose to discipline herself to live from the state of consciousness that she was already loved, already chosen, already prioritized, already had this SP being so devoted to her. And she felt those feelings and she practiced those feelings. You got to practice them because you're changing the old to the new. You're rewiring your brain and your emotional state. And so she would practice feeling the end, where she would hear his voice. She would feel his presence with her. And this is all taking place internally. Nothing had changed externally yet. And she would see the way he looked at her, that like she was the only woman in the entire world, and that he was so in love and so devoted to her. And she would see that. She would feel that. Because our thoughts create our emotions. And we want to put out a feeling that is a higher elevated feeling. It has to be strong, intense. And so your thoughts create those. And when we're thinking that, well, I want them to contact me first, that's an attitude from ego. Instead, you let all that go and you just let them love you internally. You feel the feelings of being loved. You feel the feelings of being chosen and prioritized and devoted to, where they're devoted to. You feel those feelings and you don't worry about how it shows up. You just live in the beautiful feelings, those higher elevated feelings. Those frequencies then are pushed out of you and they will be reflected back to you. That's a guaranteed thing. So she then just allowed that to be her state of consciousness. So here's what happened. Within 2 weeks, see, it wasn't long. Within 2 weeks, this guy reached out to her completely unprompted. She did nothing to get him other than lived in the state of consciousness internally, in the feelings of being loved, valued, and chosen. And he sent her a most beautiful message that he had been thinking about her, missing her, and wanting to reconnect with her. Think of the joy of that message. And a week later, he drove an hour, a whole hour, just to take her out to dinner and tell her that he did not realize how much he'd miss her or was missing her. When he left, he didn't realize how much he'd miss her and how important she was to him and how very much he really did care for her. And why? Because she lived from being loved by that person. She lived from being chosen by that person. She lived from being prioritized by that person. She lived from that person being devoted to her and only her. And had she done anything other than that, those things would have manifested. And that conversation, that text would have been very different, especially if it was negative. But no, she lived from the state of mind where he was devoted to her and only her and in love with her. So she didn't manifest by chasing him. She didn't do anything other than living in the joy of being his girlfriend, his wife, whatever it is that you want, with the joy of being chosen, loved, valued. And she manifested by being the version of herself that he naturally gravitated towards. Because that frequency was put out to the universe. Everyone in your universe has to conform to your thoughts and your feelings. And so he had to conform to her concept of him. Her old concept was that you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and I'm in lack, and you're not here, and you said this, and you said that, and it was mean and hateful, and she lived in feelings of hurt and pain and remorse and resentment. Well, then she kept getting that, right? But when she changed her attitude, her concept of herself being loved, her concept of him being the one loving her, she changed her whole reality. Reality just simply snapped into alignment because she lived from being loved. She lived from being chosen. She lived feeling prioritized. She lived feeling loved. She lived feeling chosen. She lived feeling as though he was devoted to her and only her. And it manifested into her reality. And it started all inside first, as within, so without. You can't go out in the 3D and fix it because it's going to only reflect back to you what you're thinking and feeling in the inside. Her words were to me at one of our sessions was, after that she had manifested this in, she goes, once I became the woman who is loved, that's when he showed up as the man who loves me. Let me say that again. She said, once I internally became and felt myself being that woman who is loved by him, he showed up as the man who loves me. So if you have feelings that he's devoted to you, he has to show up as the man who is devoted to you. If you have feelings that he is madly in love with you, he has to show up as the man who is madly in love with you and devoted to you and prioritizes you. Manifestation is not hard, but we have to be it first internally before we can experience it externally. Remember, what you're seeing right now in the 3D is the harvest, the reflection, the illusion of your past thoughts, your past view, your past concept of a person or yourself, or both. So if you are, whatever you're being right now is what you're going to see in your 3D reality. So what you're seeing in your 3D reality is what you've been thinking and choosing, because everything's a choice. You're choosing to be by the thoughts you think. And those thoughts produce a feeling, and those feelings are frequencies, and those frequencies are responded to by the universe. And whatever the frequency is, it will mirror that frequency back to you. So let's live in the state of consciousness, which is the frequency of being chosen, of being loved, of being valued, of having someone be so devoted to you in every single way. So you have to be it first internally before you can ever be it externally. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So stop looking at the 3D reality and look internally and live there. No matter what's going on in your 3D reality, stay in the state of consciousness that says, I am loved by him or her. I am valued. I am prioritized. They are so devoted to me and only me. And watch everything else in the 3D catch up. Just let it flow into you without any expectations other than the feelings of being loved, valued, prioritized, and that someone is so devoted to you. It's such a beautiful feeling. Live like that. And you can't just do it in the morning when you get up or at night before you go to bed. You do this every freaking moment of every day. And how do you do that? You keep bringing yourself back when you're not. You get an old memory. That's all it is. It's a memory. It's not real. You replace it with, I am loved. I am chosen. He is so devoted to me, or she is so devoted to me. And you bring yourself back moment to moment if necessary. In the beginning, it might be more difficult. Then as time goes by, it gets easier. But you must live from the end of already being. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. The universe will reflect back to you who you are feeling you are internally. Blessings.